What's up, YouTube? This is your girl, Victoria. I'm doing this video because I was in a very interesting conversation with some folks. And the one thing that was said was working for yourself is hard. Working for yourself is hard. And I thought, okay, the word hard feels heavy. And heavy is what? Not true, right? If it feels heavy, it's probably not true in a lot of instances. However, I said, okay, let's compare. So let's compare this. It takes roughly 2 to 5 years if you're in a good business and doing what you're supposed to do consistently, like you're supposed to, right? 2 to 5 years for you to see success. Success meaning, well, that could mean different things for different people, meaning that you don't have to go on a job. Let's put it that way. For some people, that might only be $2,000 a month, that you don't have to go on a job. That covers all your bills and everything and give you extras. For others, that might be $10,000 a month. But if it took you 5 years to not have to be on a job, working consistent effort, okay? So we're going to be placed hard with consistent effort. As opposed to 40 years working for someone else, coming out, an older person, I won't say old, but an older person, and having, let's say, $2,000 a month income. Or let's say it's $10,000 a month income. But 40 years as opposed to 5. In those 40 years, now I'm thinking to myself, that's hard. To go on a job doing the same thing year in and year out for 40 years. So let's say you started that job at 25. And after 40 years, you're 65 years old. 65 years old. You should be a multi-millionaire. 40 years of your life giving service to someone else, building their wealth, okay? And you come out 40 years later, this older person, right? And you're living off of $2,000 a month. Some people are living off way less than that after 40 years of giving their service, giving their time, which is something that you never get back. So to me, in my opinion, from my observation, working for someone 40 years, and just think about that, guys. You work 40 years doing the same thing year in and year out most times. Unless you moved around a company or got promoted or something like that. For the most part, it's the same thing year in and year out. Even when you get a promotion, let's say you've been there 3, 4, 5 years and you got promoted. So now you're doing something new and you might do that for 10 years. Man, to me, that's hard. That's hard. I don't know how people do that for 25, 30 years. Now, I've worked jobs. I could never last no more than 5 years on a job, even as a teenager. The longest I've had a job was 6 years. 6 years. And then I had to go down to part-time because I'm like, how do people do this? And the reason I had to do that was well, that's another story. But anyway, I just wanted to share these thoughts with you. And I don't like these videos to be long. But I had to share this thought with you guys. Leave your comments below about this and what you're thinking. And I know a lot of times people say, I know where they're coming from when they say that. When they say this, working for yourself is hard. It's easier because, you work a job, you know what time you got to be there. You know what time you got to leave. You know when you're going to eat lunch pretty much. You know what you got to do. You don't have to think about it anymore, right? So you're not in thinking mode. You're just in following mode, almost like a robotic mode, because you know what you got to do. And a lot of people are comfortable with that. And listen, if you're doing something that you love to do, that's awesome. Because that, to me, is the purpose, is to do what you love to do here. We all came here to just be happy and have fun and do what we love to do. And, you know, it'd be nice to get paid just being you, just being yourself. And that's what it's about. So I'm not knocking jobs. Don't get me wrong. We need people to do these things. We need people to drive their taxis. Okay? We need people to pick up the garbage, and we need waiters and waitresses, and we need school bus drivers. We need all these things to function as a society. However, the subject and the point of the conversation was working for yourself is harder than working for somebody for 30 to 40 years doing the same thing year after year and coming out way less than what, and living off of less than a lot of times than what you were working for. And you know what? A lot of these days and times, it's not even a 40-year plan. It's your whole life plan now. You know, you gotta work your whole life. It's people that's working, they bent over and old, and or they gotta do something, even if it's on a part-time basis, to supplement their income. So you tell me what's hard. I think, you know, after 20, 30 years, you should be just traveling the world, having a good old time. And if you can get into something that can give you that before 20 years, let's say if it takes you 5 years, if it takes you 7 years, and if it takes you 3 years or 1 year, it's worth it because you're free. You're free. That's true freedom. You're free to go and do your passion. If you want to write a book, if you want to paint something, that's your passion. If you want to help other people, because that's what you'd rather be doing with your time, because you took care of your finances. See, that's what it's about. Now, in my opinion, that's not hard. It's just consistent effort, and you're going to do that anyway, right? You're going to do that anyway. You're going to go on your job and give them consistent effort every day for the amount of hours that you're trading your time with, right? Because you're trading hours for dollars, okay? When you are working for yourself, when people say it's hard, they're talking about a brick and mortar business a lot of times. You know, like the person has an overhead. It's almost like they own a job. Robert Kiyosaki in Rich Dad, Poor Dad talks about that. If you haven't heard that, and if you haven't read that book, you need to read that book. That book is awesome. It's an eye-opener. It gets you to thinking about the different income brackets that people are in. And I read that book over and over. I probably done read it, I don't know how many times. I read it over and over, you know. So anyway, I don't want this to be long. I wanted to share these thoughts with you. But yeah, that's what people mean when they say, you know, it's hard. They're looking at the person who owns the grocery store, or the, you know, who else? You know, just people that own things like a brick and mortar type of thing. And then they have to get employees and things like that. And they have to make sure the store's ran. They got to trust the employees and don't steal from them, all these different things, you know. So that's why I'm a different kind of person. You know, I like the business without the brick and mortar. Okay, I don't need that. My overhead is my house, you know, and I still can write off things because I'm in business for myself. So it's just something to think about, and I'm going to sign off on this. Leave your comments, click the link if you want to know what I'm doing, and you guys have an awesome day.